the empowerment once again.
Thank you, James. Thank you for this opportunity again to be with you. And one of our leaders that are very close to our people and also always avail himself to listen to our people, because we've reached a stage here in South Africa where leaders just listen to themselves and not to our people. But at least we have a few of them that still listens to our people and make sure that they can help where they can.
And of course, you're speaking about the Speaker of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Vasco da Gama. Speaker, welcome to the Empowerment Hour. Welcome to Kofifi.
Good afternoon, James, and good afternoon, Cotty. I'm really blessed to be here, and I really want to greet your listeners out there.
Thank you so much for joining us once again on 97.2 FM. And of course, you can also be part of this conversation on your station where it will begin. Remember the number to use: the SMS line, WhatsApp line, 071 425 9577, 071 425 9577. You can also send us your views on our different social media platforms. It is Kofifi FM 97.2 on Facebook. You can also watch the show live on our Facebook page. That is Kofifi Sophia TV, right here on 97.2 Land. And of course, we shall be taking your views, any questions, any comments that you might have as one of the residents of the city of Joburg. Use the very same numbers to make sure that you interact with our leader right here in studio, Councillor Vasco da Gama. And we are speaking about service delivery in the city of Joburg. It is an issue of concern, not only in the city, but the entire South Africa. We have been speaking about this for a very long time. But I know that the city is once again acting in dealing with some of the service delivery related issues right here in the city of Joburg. Sure.
Yes, James, it's always a privilege for us to bring our leaders to the community, because lots of things are happening in Westbury. And today we're also going to speak about the safety issues that people are crying out. Lots and lots of emails and calls went directly to the office of the mayor, where people are just sick and tired of the senseless killings that is happening in Westbury. And also 2 weeks ago, it really crippled us all when a pastor was cold-bloodedly shot dead at his house, and we are totally against that. And that's why we've got our leader here also to speak about what is the way forward about the safety issues. And also the mayor has also promised that he will come to the to our people to actually address those issues and to make sure that people can now be safe in the communities. And other than that, we know that lots and lots of our junior councillors that are on the ground, especially ward councillors, are non-existent when people are really seriously looking for them to complain about the problems that they have with service delivery. And those are the ones that are actually tasked to communities to listen to them, but some of them are not available when needed. And here we also have the speaker again, you understand, to assure the people that if they are not available, what route can they take to actually get the needed service that they want to.
And now speaking about that, Joe, I know that earlier this month, if not last month, rather, we had the city of Joburg speaking about the recruitment of about 1,500 JMPD officers. Now, Speaker, I know that you had about 38,600 applicants.
It was more than 38,000. It was about 65,000 applicants, which is quite a lot. But we obviously had to look for the best amongst them. The recruitment process is nearly completed. I think the ones that were paraded were close to about 1,000. There is still, I think, 300 that they are busy ensuring that they are part of the 1,500. And that is precisely to make sure that we are able to deal with the issues within the inner city, within El Dorado Park, and within Westbury. As we know, all know that the killings that have taken place only this year is abnormally high. People's lives are in danger, and people are concerned about that. During last week, Councillor's son, or was it Monday? One of the two, just can't remember. But Councillor's son actually went to El Dorado Park, where 6 kids young kids were taken out of a lolly house.
Yes.
And that particular issue was heightened. So he made time, went down, spoke to community leaders, including your social services, the Department of Social Development was also there from province. And collectively, they are dealing with the issues, but also ensuring that our safe houses are in place. I think MMC, the Gama-The, is working on ensuring that we secure the safe house in Goat Street. Yesterday, I went on a door-to-door visit within Eldorado Park to see at our aged people within Eldorado Park, those that have problems, that can't remember, that are being thrown out by their children and not being looked after properly. Also ensuring that our social department is able to do the usual, and this happened about 10 years ago, usual door-to-doors to ensure that we are able to assist our people. So on many fronts, even if you don't hear of us on radio or on TV or in the news, we are trying to make the change, but also ensure that we involve the community out there, because they know where these people are living, where the problems are. And we also urge the community out there to make sure that they make use of the numbers that is provided by the city for them to put in their complaints. But if they don't get right with those departments, my office is always available to follow up and ensure that we give attention to those people that have complaints.
And of course, you're listening to Kofifi FM 97.2 in conversation with our Speaker of the City of Johannesburg Council, Councillor Vasco da Gama, right here on your station where you'll begin. We'll also be welcoming your views, any questions, any comments that you might have as one of the 97.2 listeners. And we are speaking about the entire city of Joburg, because I know that we have other listeners perhaps listening to this station, not only in Region B, but other regions right here in the city of Joburg. We welcome your views, welcome your comments, your questions on this #1 station of the people. And of course, Councillor Vasco will also be answering some of your questions, or maybe directing you to relevant departments right here in the city of Joburg. Now, you spoke about community members knowing where to go to when they have to report certain issues. And I know that in relation to this unfortunate incident in Eldorado Park, we hear that community members reported this, and they felt that, you know what, some of the social workers were not really taking this as a priority, and they were really not happy about services, or lack of services rather, they got from some of the officials.
Yes, it's absolutely true. For the first time yesterday, I sat with the social workers within Eldorado Park. We've got one social worker that was present at that particular meeting from the city of Johannesburg and one from province. And quite surprised to find out that these social workers basically have qualifications to deal with people from 13 years old to whatever age. They've got no social workers that deals with kids from 12 years up to a year old. So there is a lack in the support that government is supposed to give to communities out there, and I can guarantee you that it's not only Eldorado Park, but I'm sure that the same thing is happening in Region B, where we've got to basically look at the type of social services that is applied within those areas, the amount of people that are there to assist people. Also found out yesterday that we established some years ago, about 15 years ago, people that normally goes out to, from volunteers from the community themselves that goes out and go look after people that are, not able to assist themselves, that can't get to the clinic, and stuff, that can't come and fetch medication and stuff like that. So we established this home-based care groups throughout the city. We had training sessions throughout these past years, only to find out that now they've been placed at clinics, but the numbers are so little that you can actually not deal with the social problems that we find within our communities. I think that is where it starts. There's a lot of social problems, and unless you are able to deal with the social issues, how do you then get to kids that get out of hand and a whole lot of other things? So it's quite important that both from a city point of view and from the provincial point of view, that we give enough support, ensure that we've got enough workers to deal with the kind of pressures that we are having. There is 3 clinics within Eldorado Park, and on average, they've got 6 people that do this type of service within each clinic. But they've got a caseload of 250. 250 that they've got to visit once a year. Now, if you average it out per clinic, you're talking here about close to what is it, 1,250 people.
Yeah.
And the numbers are quite higher than that. So we need to beef up all these services. The intention is to speak to MMC Palazzi to see what the city can do from its side, but also write a letter to province to get a meeting between the health services at the provincial level and the city level, so that we can deal with these issues actively, and you don't get complaints where community members reports these things to social services and nothing happens. One person cannot deal, because in this case you've got one person from province, and that's the person that actually deals with this particular issues, but can't deal with those kids between the ages of 12 and let's say 5 years old. And that's why no action or reaction to that. So we've got to beef up all these services.
And of course, 20 minutes after 1 o'clock, now speaking about the Department of Health in Gauteng. I'm sure that some of our listeners are thinking, the Department of Health in Gauteng, so many challenges there, but we'll just leave that one for another day and speak about our residence idea in the city of Johannesburg. Now, Councillor, I know that as the city of Johannesburg, you're also working closely, you have to work closely with our provincial government, the Department of, or any other department right here in Gauteng province. Now, we are speaking about some of the challenges we have seen recently where so many children have been sexually abused. I know that is also maybe something that the provincial government has to deal with, right? We need the SAPS, that we need all other security clusters involved in that regard. But in that relation, our schools in the city of Joburg, how involved is the city of Johannesburg municipality involved, or rather, how involved is the municipality in relation to dealing with these challenges in our schools, in dealing with the challenges of our kids maybe not feeling safe going to school and not also feeling safe coming out of school?
Yeah, I think on those issues, we try and get JMPD involved in scholar patrols and issues like that, but also ensuring that learners, when they go to school, are safe and try and deal with the traffic issues around schools. But that's basically where our involvement stops, simply because it is a provincial function, number one. Number two, each school has got to have parents, a governance body that actually deals with all the issues, the maintenance of the schools and the running of that particular school. And those parents should be involved in it fully. We also encourage our counselors to get involved in ensuring, going to find out what the issues are around the schools, whether they've got problems with the accounts, including water and stuff like that. But also to try and get involved in career activities in the sense that we try and give career guidance to matriculants and whatever, ensure that our entities are involved. We've also recently started to involve JMPD in teaching, the smaller ones, especially in the grades and right at the bottom there on traffic and how to navigate yourself as a child, when to stop and when to walk over and stuff like that. And you use the right, correct signs of doing that, but also so inviting different schools to ensure that we are able to deal with that from a city point of view. So that is where our involvement stops. But I think this is our parents' responsibility.
Sure.
To be vigilant, to ensure that we've got security at these schools that is known, that we can trust, and not to go and abuse our children.
Most definitely, and that's what we need. Yes, yesterday we saw the Minister of Police, Fikile Mbalula, releasing the stats. But now what he said was that the cases of sexual offense or sexual violence rather has gone down. Well, those are some of the reported cases. At least we know that most of them are not, or they go unreported. We have seen recently in Soweto where about 87 learners, unfortunately so, and we are speaking about primary school learners who also were abused sexually so, and then more and more cases are coming out of the after that particular case being reported. And unfortunately so, we are speaking about that. It is the Gauteng provincial government's responsibility. It is the responsibility of the parents as well. And as you hear the speaker there, the city of Joburg can only get involved until a certain time. But of course, when it comes to the classroom issues or maybe issues within the school itself, it is the responsibility now of the provincial government. Any questions that you might have for the speaker, 071-425-9577. We shall be driving this conversation, taking your views and your comments as 97.2 listeners. Joe?
Speaker, when it comes to service delivery, we still have the problem where people are battling to really get the help that they really want to have. And there's a whole lot of problems. We don't want to discuss the problems today. We just want to highlight to you there's a big problem. And when it comes to service delivery, also there's a new problem that has been creeping up where most of the communities, especially the elderly, are under siege by the contractors and also the workers of Rainwater and City Power, where still you have a situation where people are traumatized. I personally saw it. It happens here at Kofifi. It happens here on a day-to-day basis where different people come and then they will just come. They totally abrupt and rude. We've even locked our electricity box because they come here and they threaten that they're going to cut and if you don't give them something. I saw it. It happens. And we actually stopped a whole lot of those type of things that from a Kofifi point of view that are happening to our communities and that are even happening here on our doorstep, where people just come and they actually extort money out of people because if you are a family and you depend on your electricity, there's a baby in the house and also the water, they just come and then they threaten, then they're going to cut it, and they're so serious that they traumatize you because they know that you are definitely going to give them money. And what type of steps do a person take? Because what we usually do, we take a photo of the number plate, we take a photo of the license plate. Sometimes we even take photos of them, and now they are towing the line. But what does a person do in a community that are not really how can I say as harsh as we are when we face those type of problems? What does a mother do? Because they still cut people's water, they still cut people's light. After you and the mayor went here on Kofifi on air and says that nobody's electricity must be cut and nobody's water must be cut, because there's a roadshow currently taking place where you go to communities to engage communities and to make sure that communities that have got queries can actually deal directly with the officials of the city regarding if it's a water problem with rainwater, if it's an electricity problem with City Power. What do we do in that case?
I think one must take this particular issue in context. That the new administration, and the mayor keeps on talking about the new administration, here must repeat it, that it's not the same as what it used to be. But you've still got contracts in the city that you've got to abide by. In other words, you can't just take them off the books and not deal with them. And you've got the scrupulous companies that have had contracts to do metering, reading, but also collections, in the sense that they've got a certain number of accounts and they have got to go and collect them. And they're using that opportunity to basically terrorize our communities out there. If they have got no nameplate on themselves, or a badge that shows this is Piet van Tonder that is coming to collect, and he comes from either City Power or Joburg Water or from the Revenue Department, don't allow him on your property. It's as simple as that. Because they use this opportunity to basically rob people and terrorize our communities out there. MMC Palazzi went on a citywide drive to ensure that she informs everybody around ESP, extended social package, how to apply for the extended social package, so that this then, and after that, Councillor Rabalani Dagada went and announced that we are going through the regions to ensure that we have a billing day in each region so that people can start fixing their account. And here, I think I said the last time, don't be scared to come forward and produce your bill so that the city can assist you in fixing it up. There was even an issue about the prescribed debt. Some people owe 78,000, 200,000, some of them even millions, simply because the previous administration did not deal with prescribed debt. Now, we've scrapped prescribed debt, but it still needs you as an individual to go to the billing department so that they're able to deal with it, because our accounts are not the same. Cotty doesn't earn the same as me, and I don't earn the same as James. We've all got different accounts, so our situation is different, and that's why it needs you to rock up in front of that billing department and say, these are my details. I am employed, this is what I earn. Or I am unemployed, I have gone for ESP, and this is it. So that you're able to deal with your account holistically. But that does not give this crooks that knocks on people's doors, cut off water when they know there's an instruction that went out from the city not to cut. So it's illegal to cut anybody's water. And that we've stated over and over again. I think the mayor every time says this. So these people that are doing it is trying to extort money, and some of those contractors are still, unfortunately, still working for the city. And that's the issues that we are dealing with. And you'll notice that General Sabia has been concentrating on the billing department now for some time. In fact, today, just before I came to Kofifi, I had another meeting with his team, complaining about the same issues, where buildings in the inner city is, and some people in the inner city is paying, you know, their services to individuals, not to the city. So these are still the problems that we've got in the city, and we've got to deal with. We are dealing with most of them, and slowly but surely we will get where we actually want to be. I don't think there's anybody in the city that doesn't want to pay, but they want to pay something that they can see, that is fair, without this unnecessary hassles.
Because now we are speaking about some of these, like you said, crooks, or should we call them criminals,
yes,
who are, of course, taking money from our people. And sometimes our community members are not even getting services that, of course, are satisfying them. Now you're speaking about some of the contracts that are still, unfortunately so, or contractors rather, that are still working for the city of Joburg. Maybe the question there would be, I know that you said you are dealing with them. Are you maybe reviewing some of those contracts to make sure that you do away with these criminals? Because they are criminals. They are being paid by the city, but also taking money from community members.
And that's why the statement that Cotty made, that take photos, take a photo of his face, take a photo, if he's got a name on, take a photo of his name so that we see whether he's actually legitimate. And take a photo of the number plate. Let's find out who the contactor is and whether he's actually allowed to be there.
And they don't even listen to radio, James, because there's one that I spoke to and I said that, look, the mayor and the speaker of the city went public and they said that they want to help our people and they're not going to cut electricity and water, but they are here and they are new administration and they want to start a culture of paying.
Yes.
And when you start the culture of playing, it's right what you are saying, Mr. Speaker. You are saying that people must be given an opportunity to come forward and to say, this is where I am. Because most of the times it's not actually the people's fault, it's an administration fault. And it's also people that has been there before that didn't do their work. And now they want to crucify the people. And our people that are supposed to get their fair share of human rights here in the country are now not getting it, because now lights are cut off. You get a situation where there's a sick person in the house that has got oxygen machines in the house, and then the electricity is cut, and it's so wrong. But again, to all the people in Kofifi land, the speakers here again, and you have a reference now. You have a reference. We as Kofifi, together with the city of Johannesburg, are actually promoting a culture of payment. But we also promote a culture, you understand, of you having the opportunity to be listened to. So those are the most important things. And I think, Mr. Speaker, the people need actually a direct point of contact where if there's somebody, and because the last time I spoke to one, James, he said the speaker is not working for the city.
Forgetting that actually the speaker.
Maybe I should give out 2 email addresses where people can in fact
and that's what the people want.
Yeah, can in fact send emails to, so that I personally have a look at them and direct them to the right department so they're able to deal with their issues. The first email address is Colleen, COLLENR @joburg.org.za. And the second one is Joanne V @joburg.org.za, just to give the first name, Joanne, JOANNEV @joburg.org.za. Just to describe the problem. If it's an account, just to make a copy of that, send it by email, and also to send your contact details so that we are able to look at it and try and assist you, or also direct you in the right way how to deal with those issues. Please don't be scared. There's nobody that's going to bite you or all of a sudden try and cut off your services. Let's try and deal with the issues instead of sitting there, being scared to come out and say, I've got a problem.
And I see that there's a comment here also requesting that email address. Well, we'll definitely do that before the end of the show once again, to give you the email addresses. So make sure that if maybe you don't have a piece of paper there and a pen, make sure that you get it before the end of the show. We'll make sure that we give you the email addresses that you can use as well if you want to complain directly to the City of Johannesburg Speaker's Office. And Speaker, we are speaking about some of the criminals in the city, or those who are at least contracted to the City of Joburg. But you know that also some of the councillors in the City of Joburg, I mean, we have heard recently about another councillor who was arrested for allegedly selling a piece of land that does not even belong to them.
Yes. It's the Speaker's responsibility to make sure that when I hear things like that, that these things are reported. So I've had this complaint last year already, where 2 individuals complained about them being sold land by a particular councillor in Ward 92. I then asked for an investigation. This was then sent to General Sabia, and the results thereof then came. And that's the reason why we then formulated the case. This case is going to be heard by ethics. All councillors in the city that does any wrongdoing is taken to ethics. And we just recently got the Integrity Commissioner appointed, and that Integrity Commissioner deals basically with councillors, investigates when they've done something wrong, and obviously formulates a report that goes to the Integrity Commissioner. Where a committee is then formulated from different political parties, and a decision then is taken. Now, this councillor was obviously arrested,
Sure.
And after his arrest, there is much more cases coming up. So it's not only the two individuals that he sold property to that belongs to the city, but a whole lot of other people are also having the same problem. Because what happened? They can't get title deeds because it doesn't belong to the councillor. That land belongs to the city, and only the city, through JPC, can give title deeds. But we go through a proper process where different people would apply for the same property, and obviously through a adjudication process, it's then decided who gets it at the end of it. I think people must not do any transactions with councillors. Councillors are just the political person in that particular ward, and does not, and definitely does not, own any property within the city. If he owns property, it might be his own, but they are not allowed to do that.
Now, maybe when we speak about disciplining such councillor or taking them to ethics and committee, yeah, of course, making sure that we discipline them in a way. Maybe some person will say actually that disciplining them might mean suspending them, and then they go back to, once again, earning a salary in the city of Joburg, even after maybe doing that for over 10 years. Like you said, Speaker, you are the new administration, but maybe it happened before.
Yeah.
And we know some of those councillors might be still working for the city of Joburg. Is there a possibility maybe that that person be fired completely by the city of Joburg?
Well, he's going through the courts right now. In others, he will appear in court. If he's found guilty at the end of that court, it's the end of him.
Okay. So now you know, as a ward councillor, if you are busy with your shenanigans somewhere in the city of Joburg, you are selling land that does not belong to you. You're also charging people for services that they must be getting for free in the city of Joburg, that they must be getting, at least paying for them, yes, but paying the city of Joburg and not paying you and some of those who are working with you as a ward councillor. Your days are numbered. We're definitely going to be dealing with you.
Speaker, there's a big cry for help in all the different communities. Is now very much happening in Eldorado Park and in Westbury, where emails and lots of telephone calls went to the mayor regarding the situation in our areas where our children are brutally murdered for no reason, and crime has just been in the order of the day in most of our communities. Now, SEPS is at the moment not handling the situation very rightly, because if they did, then this problem would have been eradicated a long time ago, and will become victims week in and week out. What are the city going to do to make sure that communities also in the city are very safe? Because, as I said, SEPS have hopelessly failed our people.
I think you're absolutely right. I think not only the province, but national government has failed all the communities within the city of Johannesburg. And yeah, I'm not just talking about Westbury. I know that the issue in Westbury is a crisis, but the inner city is just as well a crisis. As you know, the inner city battles with crime on a daily basis. The issue in Bosmont and New Clare and Eldorado Park have been raised several times, both at the provincial level and at the national level. I've raised it by sending an email to Councillor Kate Lorimer, who is the provincial spokesperson in the city of in Gauteng, on public safety. She's raised it with Sizakele, Nkosi, who's the MEC for the police within this province, several times. I remember a week ago, I spoke to Kate Lorimer again on this issue, because I live within this community. I know what the issues are that are coming out of these areas, and they must deal with it, and deal with it decisively. At a national level, it's been even discussed at committee levels to highlight these issues. And I think that's the reason why Mfikile Balula is raising that he actually needs the army to come in and deal with these things. But that is going to take too long for us to wait for Jacob Zuma to make a decision that I'm now going to release the army to go and assist with policing in Gauteng and in Cape Town. And as we know, it's been a crisis for years in Cape Town.
Yes.
Where Helen Zille at some point came out and said, we need the army to ensure that we are able to deal with this issue decisively. But unfortunately, national government has not taken that responsibility. Is it only the army? Isn't it the same as the city of Johannesburg has done, knowing that there is crime in the city, have increased the JMPD officers to ensure that after they are trained, we will then have enough people to deal with crime within the city. But that's also going to take time. Why is the minister not taking a decision to increase policing within the city? But not only policing, but also the vehicles that they must use to actually, but also using the intelligence community to find out who exactly is behind all the killings.
Because then, Speaker, another question then will be, before maybe the introduction of the army in our communities, is the Johannesburg Metro Police Department and South African Police Service working closely together? I know that we had this question when we were just celebrating a year in office as the new administration, but how is that relationship now? Do we have JMPD working closely and really closely when it comes to fighting crime within our communities, working closely with our different police stations?
I must tell you that every time we had been communicating with the South African police to do raids with us, they have been actively assisting us. Okay. Maybe not the numbers that we require to do this, but they have been assisting on that front. And every time they have called the city to assist within particular raids, we've always been there and ensured that we've got enough manpower to assist policing. I think policing is the number one issue that we need to beef up. It doesn't matter whether it is province or national or whatever. We need to ensure that our communities feel safe. And unfortunately, the communities within Eldorado Park and in Bosman and Nuclear are not feeling safe, simply because I think there is a lack of policing within this province.
There's a question here and a comment coming through from Gail, one of the Kofifi lenders listening to this station from Nuclear, saying that, welcome, Mr. Speaker. There are so many sad issues concerning this community. Firstly, people here don't have access to email, I believe internet, but that is something that we'll discuss later, just after reading this comment, Mr. Speaker, saying that children are at home smoking glue, they are unemployed, there's drugs everywhere, nobody's concerned about this area. I can say everything, but things are really bad. So I don't know. Do we still have communities that feel that they are still forgotten communities, even after the new administration promising that gone are the days where people will feel that they are the forgotten communities?
I agree with her. But communities have a right to feel that way.
Okay.
But you know, James and Cotty, that without the involvement of parents and communities around policing issues, we will never come right. Communities have to be involved in a local CPF. They've got to be involved in ensuring that policing is done in the area where they live, but also to encourage involvement of normal people.
Sure.
Without us reporting the crime, and also pointing out individuals. We know our children, not necessarily meaning that the caller that has called in, children is involved. But what I'm saying is that people committing crime in our areas are our own kids. And therefore, it is quite important for us to work closely with the police. And here I know that in Bosman and New Clare and Alrara Park, people are complaining about the local police station.
Sure.
But it's up to the minister to take decisions to actually swap these policemen from the one police station to another police station, because they've become too used to drug lords. I mean, we see them during the day standing at the drug lord's house for a few minutes and then leaving. And a lot of people are complaining about it. In fact, reporting on this type of issue, which must be dealt with. So there is another way that we've got to find to deal with these issues,
sure,
and not just go on the way that we do. New administration, I don't think anything would change with policing unless we change the situation at the provincial and the national level.
And of course, it is 10 minutes now, 11 minutes before the end of the show, before 2 o'clock, right here on 97.2 FM, in conversation with the Speaker of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Vasco da Gama, speaking about some of the service delivery issues within our communities. Maybe you have an issue that you want to also communicate through the Speaker's office. You're welcome to send us your views on 071-425-9577. Now, Speaker, I know that in the city of Joburg, the access to the internet, I must say that in the city, if you go through different communities, if you go to different libraries right here in the city, access to the internet is something that at least we are, in a way, I must say that we are succeeding in relation to that.
Yes.
But our ward councillors, are they communicating this to our communities? Because I saw a comment here that says some of the kids don't even have access to the internet, or rather to creating their email addresses. But there's free access of the internet at our libraries.
Yes, I think there is, and most of our community centers, in fact, there is free internet access. If you know of a certain center that does not have, please let us know, so that when the upgrades to these services are done, that we also inform the network providers to get that at your local library.
All right, Frida, now you know, you're also asking who are we speaking to today. Well, we are speaking to Councillor Vasco da Gama. So you can also, if you want to complain directly to the City of Joburg, just say that you are listening to Kofifi FM 97.2, and the Speaker of Joburg, Councillor Vasco da Gama, was here on your station where you'll begin. So we appreciate you, we thank you. Now the issues of title deeds, we are once again back where we started. Community members are, in other communities at least, I know you said that it is a long process that you are dealing with as the City of Joburg. But some communities, like there's a comment here coming through from President Penneville, but you have forgotten them in Penneville with the issues of title deeds.
In which area?
Penneville.
Well, I think the title deeds in Penneville should be available. Is it a single house? If it's a single house, I think those should be available. If it is a flat, I don't think it would be, because they themselves, the community, is responsible for ensuring that they form co-ops within those flats, and only after they formed a co-op that is reliable, that have been trained, then the city will give the title deeds, because it doesn't help to give you a title deed and your neighbor neglects his place, which will affect you eventually. So we've got to ensure that somebody is able to manage that particular building, and that's why the slow delivery of title deeds. But if it's single houses without, I think there is some walk-ups also in Penneville, which is also a little bit problematic. But if you go to your local housing department, they should be able to tell you. I think 2 weeks ago, we gave out 2,500 title deeds in Soweto. So the giving out of title deeds is still continuing. We don't keep them in our desks anymore. And just release them before elections. It's a continuous process.
And now, here's a comment here from Auntie C. And I must say that I had a similar comment from one of the listeners in Rivali as well a couple of days ago about where they stay, the place or the flats, and also maybe houses where they stay, where they have issues. Each and every time when it rains, they have difficult or that they struggle to go out of their houses because now they'll be stuck in their houses because of this water that is just stuck in front of their houses. And they don't know who do they report this to, because it is not only in Eldos, it is not only in Rivali, but different communities have the same issue.
If it's an issue in Rivali, I know about Sun Street. Just discussed it yesterday.
Yes. That's the one. Yeah.
Yes, and Sun Street. If the community that lives in that street knows that the bulldozers were there, they removed some of the sand in the river in itself. But once the rain came, the issue's back. So what I've ensured last week, and obviously also spoken to Basil Douglas, the councillor within that ward.
Ward 68.
Yes, the urban inspectors run through Vicky Shuping will be dealing with that. They're going back with the officials to find a permanent solution to the issue that they've got. But it's not only that. You've also got the Bosmont Spruit just on the other side of that, right at the bottom, where you've got the seepage of water into the Catholic Church, where Marcel goes church. In fact, all those properties at the bottom of Bosmont that are being affected, the contractor is on site. They are busy clearing the channel at the bottom. There is a terrible smell also coming from the Bosmont Strait all the way up from the top. They are also dealing with that, but also unblocking the damming up of that particular area, in the sense that lower down at a later stage they will open up that channel to ensure that dam eventually start clearing out.
And one of the employees of the city of Joburg is saying that no, Ludibo, so when Alehemen Mashabare, good day, James. I must say that we as the workers of the city of Joburg were neglected before, and things are now getting better within the Joburg property. So you're doing things right, and the employees are happy.
Thank you very much for that comment.
Speaker, we don't have time. Just one question before you go is that you've been in power now for a year, and we as a community want to know, are you winning? And if there's difficulties, how can the communities help you to win?
Yes, there is difficulties. Believe me, on a day-to-day basis, we get different complaints. I think my office deals more with complaints than anything else. But also there's continuous corruption in the city. Sure. Please, if you know of any corruption within the city, let us know, because you want to clean it out. Okay. You don't want your communities to suffer because of that. It is very important that the communities tell us about the slow service. If you phone 315 5555, 317 5555, and there is no response, we've got to know about it.
Sure.
Because if you don't test the system, it's never going to work. I don't want to respond to people's complaints. I want those people to be able to reach that department, and that department, in fact, sort out their problem. So that me as a politician cannot get involved in that. We are paying people to do a specific job.
Sure.
And those people must be able to do their work without interference from politicians or either from anybody else. I think it's quite important to do that. But also, I'd want to ask residents to go and clean on the 28th, coming Saturday.
This coming Saturday, yes.
Ensure that you clean this, your area, in your street, outside your house, at least once a month. The mayor is sending out that call that if all of us, at least once, one day, spend that 3 hours cleaning in front of your house, and encouraging your neighbors to do exactly the same, you would have done enough.
Okay, a couple of comments here. Maybe, Mr. Speaker, you'll also note this, but also we're going to forward you some of the complaints and comments coming through from our listeners. Now, this one is about the Landlaagte area. You must also check the area out. Apparently, it's one of the forgotten areas, according to our listeners here. And then also communities like Penneville by the Flats, as I mentioned earlier, and Klipspruit West. They feel that the ward councillor there is not really assisting. I know these are some of the comments or complaints that you might have received before, but we're also going once again to forward this to your office, Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, so time is limited, but we appreciate all of you for sending these comments on 97.2 FM. We are not going to let these comments and not give them to Mr. Speaker right here on 97.2 FM. So all of you, those who have also sent their comments on our SMS line, our social media platforms, and just maybe in closing to mention the email addresses once again for those who did not get them earlier, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. It is Colleen with one L and the double E, Colleen r@joburg.org.za. And then the other one would be Joanne, JOANNEV @joburg.org.za. Please send them, but ensure that you give enough information so that we are able to deal with your problem.
Once again, Councillor Vasco da Gama, the Speaker of the City of Joburg, we thank you for making time and dealing with some of the service delivery related issues within the communities of Kofifi, and we appreciate you.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to the listeners.
Just before I forget, James, there's just one question that we just lastly that we must ask the Speaker, because it was a request to ask that question, is that lots and lots of contractors are working in communities, and there's a big fight between people that are employed that are not in the community, and also contractors that comes in and that don't actually give communities, subcontractors, the opportunity to work with them on the contract that is in the community. Where do you report those type of questions to?
Those things must be reported to the local regional director, RD in each region. And those regional directors must deal with those issues. But if you have complained and you've raised the issue with them, please feel free to raise it with me. I've given the necessary email addresses. Raise it, tell me exactly what the issues are, but explain it so that I understand it. Because there is certain requirements that contractors must follow to ensure that we empower our local people.
Mr. Speaker, once again, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
I'm worried.